Think big, start small, scale quickly. This is my favorite way of enacting change at Service Express and has been proven to be the most effective way that we've infected change here at Service Express. And so as part of a growing company, you're always evolving in the way you do business, in the way you go to market and sell, the way you service your customers, the way you communicate externally, internally, the way your operational processes go through. You never stop. I've always said that if we don't look back on how we did business 3 years ago and think, oh my word, how did we ever do it that way? Then we're not evolving quick enough because the company is growing up and to the right. And so our processes and systems and strategies all need to grow up and to the right. And as you get larger, that can look and feel a little bit more daunting. How do you change a process that's been there so long, or that seems so big right now? And how do you know it'll work? How do you know you don't break everything in the meantime? Because you don't want to lose customers. You don't want to tank sales. You don't want to mess everything up on the operational side of the business. And so how do you do that? That's a question I think I've seen leaders struggle with sometimes and wrestle with. And so they end up not doing change because they can't get their arms around it, not sure if it's going to work or not. And so they allow their current process to continue to get outdated and eventually something's going to break. And so thinking big, starting small, and scaling quickly is how we've approached it. So first of all, thinking big, where do we need to be? What does it need to look like? For us, as we think about scaling to $500 million and then $1 billion in revenue, huge numbers, right, for us. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? That's big and daunting when you first look at it. So you think big. But then you got to start small. This is the key right here, is you do these little micro experiments on different strategies that you're looking at implying. And so if you break something, you break something small. You don't break the whole thing, but you learn and you try something and then you fix it, you adjust it until you get it dialed in. And then once you have the strategy dialed in, you scale quickly. And that's when you invest. That's when you go all in. That's when you communicate out and you push it all going forward. And you go as fast as you can once you decide to scale, right? But first you got to calibrate it to make sure that you're in the right area. So that's the key to the whole thing, and where I see people get hung up. They either want to change everything all at once, and that's a big bet. Takes a lot of resources, time, and distraction. It may or might not work. So they either want to do it all, or they get afraid of that and they don't want to do anything. And neither way is where you want to be. You always want to be experimenting, have these micro experiments going on with strategies and processes and efficiencies that you're going to have, and then scaling those out. Jeff Bezos, I referenced an article to shareholders that he wrote a few years ago recently. And in that same article, he talked about that most decisions should probably be made with around 70% of the information you wish you had. So if you wait for 90%, in most cases, you're probably being too slow. And that happens with a growing company. Like if you wait for 90%, you've waited too long. In the software world, people talk about, I've heard the term that if your first release of software doesn't embarrass you, you waited too long to release it. And so you got to be okay with releasing things before they're 100% figured out. And so how do you become okay with that? Again, start small. Think big about what you want to do. Start small. Micro experiments, fix them, measure them, fix them again, measure them again, keep going until you have it calibrated, and then you invest, and then you scale quickly. And so, during COVID is no different. In fact, if you're not thinking big, if you're not trying these experiments right now, I think you're wasting this time. The world is changing quick. There's a lot of innovation. Things that we thought we were going to do in a company in the next 5 years, we've done in the last 5 months. It's all escalating. So this is no time to say after COVID, I will think about working on these things. You should be thinking big right now, starting small, and when you got it figured out, scale it quickly. I hope this works for you. I hope you're trying it. Let me know your thoughts and feedback. As always, during this time, please stay safe and stay healthy.